All right, guys, we are kicking off another session. So, welcome. Apparently, we are raising standards because we had a brilliant session with Valentin last week. I think that was very useful. That Aline had something completely different, and it's an interesting one. Why the hell did Ahmed, who is supposed to join us remotely, decide to leave the session? I don't know, but we will see in a second. So let me just fix a few things. Join call here. Okay. Join call. Fine. Ahmed, you can share your screen. I don't know why it stopped, but anyway. So thank you very much. Okay, so what is this session about? All right. Well, today's session is about two things. All right. We learned how to build the web applications, how to deal with various things, and now what we need to do is deploy this on the actual server so our users can use it. Okay. So the first part is second part that I'm going to talk about today is deployment. Okay, so I'm going to give you a number of tips and tricks how to do it easily, and I'll show you how to do it incorrectly as well, so you know how to fix it if you break stuff. But one of the problems that we have with AI SIHA in our topic application is these cron jobs, okay? Because we touched upon cron jobs very briefly, and people were like, yeah, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then when you actually have to apply one, it gets very complicated, okay? So today I have Ahmed on Skype, so hopefully we can hear him. We'll test that in a second to make sure that we can all hear him. And Ahmed will tell us a little bit on what this cron job is supposed to do, first of all. Then we will look into the code, okay? And I will do a little bit of code analysis in terms of how does it comply with standards, okay? Because you guys have to understand this code. And if you don't understand the code, then Ahmed will tell us what the problem is, but we can't figure out what the hell the problem is if we don't understand the code as it is right now, okay? So as I say, I will have a look at the quality of the code, the coding standards, is everything clear to us? And then Ahmed will say, this is my problem that I have, or problems, and then I will try to figure out what would be the best approach to solve those specific problems. So plenty to cover, yep. Okay, so what I'm going to do for the guys on line, please send me a message if you can hear me, and then if you can hear Ahmed, because probably you won't be able to hear him, but I hope the system will work because it worked before. Okay? So right now on the chat you should see Ahmed's screen that he's sharing. And Ahmed, if you unmute, please say hello, and then we can test the sound.
Hello.
Okay, so we definitely heard you in the office, and please, guys on the chat, let us know, can you hear Ahmed, so we can move on from here. Anyone in the chat live, except Jesus? Sound is fine. So you got both me and Ahmed. Excellent. So that's brilliant. Okay. So Ahmed, first question for you is okay, what is your cron job supposed to do? What is the purpose of this cron job?
So the purpose of this cron job is to translate the English database we have to Arabic and save them in different table while we are keeping the same structure. While we are keeping the same structure, yes.
Okay, so translating one table into another and keeping the structure very clear. Why do we need to do this as a background job?
So we have around 3,363 articles, which mean the same number as lines in the database. And we can actually run this at once using a root or a function or something like that, especially in the live server, because there is some security things to keep the runtime like a bit small. So that's why we need background job in order to do this one by one.
Okay. But there are also other reasons, okay? Because foreground jobs are for our users. So user clicks show me article number 1, you show article number 1. That's foreground, okay? And it's a small number of data, it's just one article, so we can do that very quickly, okay? Just read one article from the database and show it on the screen, okay? But this job is nothing to do with users. Users don't click anything on a website to translate the whole database of English articles into Arabic ones. Okay, there's no button to click for the users. That's translated once. Okay, and then we can run this cron job later, this background job later, if we want to update new articles, for example. But it's not the front end. Okay, there's no button to click, say, do this. Okay, there's no point. But how long does it take to do these 3,000 articles?
Oh, I don't know, but I think that I can say around 15 minutes when I did this using the root, because I didn't translate using the cron job. I had a problem, so I used a normal function, a normal root, and I was calling this root again and again, and it took me like 15-20 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
Is not the right way to do it, of course.
Of course, but as we know, users like websites and applications which respond immediately, okay? So half a second is fine, 2 seconds is not fine. It's already slow. You already notice it's not working properly, okay? And you wonder what the hell is going on. Imagine you have to wait 15-20 minutes for something to happen. Nobody waits on a website for 15-20 minutes. So, as I said, if it doesn't look immediate, okay, and immediate, let's say half a second, so page loads half a second, 1 second, that's immediate. If it doesn't happen in that amount of time, then it cannot be a foreground job. It has to be a background job. Okay? Now, one typical example that I mentioned before of the background jobs is sending emails. So you all send emails, you click the send button, and then you know from Outlook or any application that you are using, it takes 5-6 seconds, 10 seconds, and if you have attachment even longer, to send the email. Okay? So what typically is done, you say send email, and it doesn't block the UI, it does this job in the background, but it gives you like upgrade process, okay? It's sending, boom, email sent, okay? So you get that email sent 5-6 seconds later. So that's a typical background job. You want this email sending to be done in the background. Okay? So if we have 3,000 articles or more, because this whole thing will have 12,000 articles at some point, it is a lot of data. Okay? And we have to do it as a background job. Simple as that. All right? Now, Ahmed also said something about the keeping the structure. Okay? Because Ahmed, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Okay? So first thing what you need to do is get one English article, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you get one English article from the database, and then you repeat this 3,000 times, but you get one English article. So what do you do first with that English article?
Well, what I'm doing is, so the properties of this one English article is, some of the properties are simple, like the type is string, and some others is encoded JSON. So what I'm doing is I'm just translating the simple properties, then I'm doing some executing some script to translate the part I need.
Okay, hold on, slowly, okay? So first of all, the article you said has multiple properties, and some of the stuff in the article is in JSON, okay? So first thing that you do with this article, you break it down, okay? So you analyze the article and break it down to the segments, okay? And one of the segments is main body of the article, yeah? Okay? And then what do you have to translate? Because we don't translate everything. You translate only, I think, title and what else?
Title, description, name, yeah. And the column called main entity of page.
Okay. So in one article there are multiple things that you have to translate, okay? But do you translate the whole article at once?
No.
Okay. So how do you translate the article?
As I said, I translate a description, which is string, so I can translate it directly using Google API. Then I translate the title directly also. Then I translate the main entity of page, which is the JSON. Not all of it, just the text part. So there is property keys called text or alternative, something like that. So there is specific keys in the JSON to translate, not all of it.
Okay. And do you translate all of those at the same time, or do you do it one by one?
No, one by one.
Okay.
So I translate the description. I put it in the description property of the Arabic table, but I save the article just once. Yeah,
you save it once, but you have to break down the article, analyze the article, then break down the sentences in the main body, then do this all one by one. Okay. And then I think the next step is you have to put everything back together, all the translations, in the same format that it used to be in English.
I'm creating the same structure while I'm translating, so both at the same time.
So simultaneously you are putting the stuff together as you are translating, okay? And then once you translate, then you save the whole thing once it's done.
Yeah.
And then you go to the next article.
Exactly.
If everything went smoothly.
Yes.
Okay. So this is what we are going to see now in the code. So I'm going to ask Ahmed to share. We already see his screen, but we just see the Skype. So if you can share your code, please. Okay, so let's see this code right now. And I don't know, can you guys see it? Ahmed, you need to zoom in, please. So if you go to view, yeah, you know how to do it, okay? And maybe, yeah, that's brilliant, okay? So I think now everybody can see this text, okay? So now what I know what Ahmed is doing, I'm going to, before he tells me what the problem is, so going to try to understand this code, okay? So he explained to us that he has to get one article, okay? Then break it down somehow, analyze it, then do the translation part of every single thing, and at the same time when he's doing translation, he's putting that article back together, and then he saves it. Okay? So this is what this code is supposed to do. Is everyone clear with that? Okay? Good. So in line 45, and this is very good. Let's start with line 44. He puts a try catch, okay? Because he needs to know if anything goes wrong, if there is an exception. So let's say Google API is not available for us, it will crash or something. We can catch that, so we don't have half translated articles and so on, so we can handle that. We will see it at the bottom, okay? So that's good, try catch. And now in line 45, we have get one article to translate. So we know exactly what he's doing, so this is a good comment. So he has a variable called article, which is a great name for the article that he wants to translate, okay? It's not in plural, it's one, okay? So he is saying article EN, so it's very clear that this is a model, okay, which will contain all the articles in English, okay, and then he's where translated 0, okay, so he has some property, is this article translated, okay, and it has to be 0. 0 typically means no, false, so it's very clear, and he's getting the first one of those articles that is not translated. So first English article which is not translated. So this line of the code reads perfectly well to me, okay? And now he has the point of the next comment in line 47, if there is no article, because maybe we run out of articles, okay? Which is a fair point, we need to check that, okay? If article is null, so if nothing was returned, then return 2. Now here, I already have one problem with this thing, okay? Only Ahmed in this world knows what 2 means, okay? So he didn't explain this with a comment, so I don't know what should I do? What is if I return 1? What is if I return 5? What is if I return that, okay? I know he's like, no article, we stop the cron job, but I don't know how does this stop the cron job. We'll have a look at that a little bit later, okay? But I'm just analyzing the code to say, do I understand exactly what it means, okay? Now, the list of HTML tags we will keep in the article, okay, and only a tag is ignored. Now, these articles, as Ahmed explained to us, have a very complex structure, and they come with HTML, so they come formatted, okay? So I assume that here we have a list of all the HTML tags that we want to keep in the article, okay? So we want to keep, for example, aside, audio, B, for bold and so on. That would make sense. So let's say if something in English article is bold, we want to keep it in our Arabic article as well as bold, okay? Now, what I don't understand, why is this a string, but we will see a little bit later. Okay, so it looks like a very long string of things, but let's bear with it, okay? So I understand what he means here. Okay? Create a new Arabic article. So this creates an empty article. Okay, so this creates an object which is empty. Okay, I think he didn't need exactly to do it here, but maybe he did. I don't know. We will have a look what is happening, because he's creating a new article, but we didn't even translate or do anything with it. Okay, so let's have a look what he's doing. Okay, so article letter, and this is now our article. Okay, our article is new article R. Now this is slightly confusing to me, okay, already, because it's everything is article. So, and he is not consistent, because here we have this Arabic at the end, and now we have it at the beginning, okay. But it's fine. I can get used to it. All right, and he explained that this our article is Arabic article, so we can live with it, okay? Not by preferred choice. So then he assigns the letter, the same letter that is in English article, okay? But see how this line 56, our article letter is article letter. It would be better if this variable article is called en article, so I know which one is which. Okay, so just a little bit consistency with the naming. Okay, but that's fine. And then no need for this, but just in case, we can delete later if we want. Okay, because there is stuff that we don't need in original English articles. Okay, so Ahmed here was to copy it exactly in the same format, which is fine. Okay, but he made a comment that this is optional, so we can even skip this. We don't need the letter. Okay, because at the end of the day, Arabic letters are different than English letters, so they make no sense. Okay. Then he copies the article ID, so the article English ID is ID, and this is now bloody confusing. Okay, I'm already having a problem to follow. Okay, so article ID on the right, okay, is an English article, so it has an ID. So let's say article number 1. Now that number 1 is storing in a property English ID, so this article Arabic ID, which might have a different ID number, is linked to this article. Okay, I understand what he means here, but it took me a little while to figure out, because he didn't make any comments, but anyway, that's not the problem. Okay, so he's checking is the English article name not null. Okay, and then translate the name. So he is straight away translating the name. And then he translates the name, okay. So he is using this API translate function, okay, which is fine. But one thing is that he put the full path of this function, /illuminator/support/str. He could have, as we are recommending, imported that package or used it at the top, and then you can just use str, so it doesn't need to type all this long text, the full name. Okay, so we are using string translate. We put the name, which is not null, so we have some data. We are translating into Arabic from English. So this function has its documentation, clear, okay, and then he's storing the result inside the article name. That's a good question. So we had to put a plugin here, which will. Yeah, I know there is echo because I need to mute Ahmed. So Ahmed, I will mute you for a bit till I explain this, okay? Or you can. Now, what I have a problem here is this strp translate is calling google.com/something/something, and it's waiting for result. Now, what Ahmed is not doing here is not checking, is that result a valid thing? Okay, so he doesn't know did he get a good response, or maybe this API stopped responding. So he's straight away assigning it to the name. So he's assuming that this Google API will work. Now, there are a couple of things. As you know, all these services suffer for outages, okay? So they do stop working. Your Facebook stops working, your LinkedIn stops working all the time, okay? So it's not going to work 99% of the time. You know, there will be 1%, 99% of the time it will work, but there's 1% where it's not going to work. And knowing our luck, we are going to call this at that time. And then we are not going to get a name, or this one will return some error, and he will save error as the name of our article, which is not good. The second thing is, actually, this is a paid service. So if I didn't pay for this service, or my credit card expired, or I reached the limit of what is set up, this translation function will complain. Hey, you didn't pay, so screw you. So there are multiple instances where external API calls will fail. I'll give you just two good examples of that. So we need to check that. Yes, we have a big try-catch around, so this will maybe catch it, maybe it won't, okay? But I would check these specifically, okay? All clear so far? Good. Okay, so as Ahmed explained before we looked into the code, there is a big structure about these articles. So there's article parent, he copies that, the URL, the category. So there's article, but it can be a sub-article, so that's why we have a parent. Then there is a URL, so the link to the article. Then there is a category of the article. Then it's, you know, so it's just copying all these parameters, date modified, what type, and so on. And then he's doing the same thing in line 73 with description. Now he's translating the description. Okay, this is clear. But the same feedback applies. This might fail, and we don't know it straight away here. Good, okay. And then he keeps copying the next and next step. And it's very nice that all these things are in certain order. So I guess they are in the same order in our database. It's the same order in the article structure, so it's easy to find where the things are. So he just keeps going one by one. Does it have a breadcrumb? Does it have a keyword? What's the genre? Etc., etc. Okay? So now we are getting to the complicated and also interesting part. So if you can scroll up from line 88, please, Ahmed. All right. So the bulk of the article is in, as he explained, in JSON. Okay? And he needs to create an array of objects which have the same structure. Okay? So he decodes JSON, he explained it to us, he put it in a comment, and this is the main entity of page. That's how it's called from the API. So the title is good. We know this is what it is. Okay? And then he has the result, final result of the new entity of page will be stored here, okay? He called it result, which it is, okay? But it's also main entity or Arabic main entity. He could have used the same, you know, kind of structure, because if I have main entity in English and I have main entity in Arabic, I can call those two things as what they are. And keeping in mind that I follow what we agreed before, okay? So he is looking, first of all, in line 90, is it empty? Because maybe it's empty. Maybe he found an article which is empty. Okay, fine. And then he iterates through all the things in main entity of the page. which are now objects. Okay, so he creates an empty class, fine, okay. Don't know what it is used for, and it's called standard class, so it's not very descriptive, okay. So I have no idea at this time what the hell it's going to do. And now he is getting object vars entity as key value. Oh my God, I am lost. Go through the X of the object, okay? Now Ahmed is very keen, he wants to explain us what does this mean, but he shouldn't. He unmuted straight away, he's so keen to tell us what this does, okay? But I'm not going to allow him to speak right now, okay? Why? Because his code should speak for himself. Okay, so let's think about this for a second. And I know people hate when I go in great details, but this is extremely important for you guys as developers. Don't just skip parts. If you don't understand it, like, yeah, I'll figure it out later. No, you won't. Understand it, don't go any further. That's the main rule, okay? So, we have entity is this line 91. It's main entity of the page. So main entity has lots of sub-entities. I understand that. And there are multiple of those, okay? And then he calls a function get object vars of entity. I don't know exactly what that function does. I can't remember every single PHP function. So, and then it gets the values of that. So I kind of assume that that entity has also multiple sub-entities. Okay? And then he switches on that key. Okay? So those sub-entities of that page can be of a different structure. Okay? And maybe it's a good time here. Ahmed, I don't know, do you have it handy? I see you have a Postman open. Can you show us one of these requests and entities, what they return, or maybe in a database, okay? So can you show us that main entity, please? It's a little bit small, so I don't know, can you guys see it? Can you highlight main entity? Where does it begin? Okay, so this is the main entity of the page. Sorry guys, on the stream, I need to switch to this thing. I forget about that. Okay, bad, me. Anyway, sorry about that, as I said. So main entity, as you can see, it has identifier, name, position, and then inside of main entity of the page, it has another main entity of the page which has position, identifier, text type. Okay, so you can see the structure is actually quite stupid. It's quite complex. And there are things which are empty, like description. I would expect description to be something, and then the headline is empty, so things can be empty. So it's important to understand that this structure of the data is quite complex, and he has to go through it. And you can see it doesn't end here, it keeps going, because this is the first object that he is looking at, so I guess that's X. And then there is a next object after that, which also has identifiers and main entity of the page and headlines and and then probably it happens again and again and so on. So he has to decompose this, which is very good. So can you go back to your code, please? Okay, so this is why we have these breaking down. Okay, so he's iterating through all of this, and then the key can be main entity of the page. So while I don't like how you just got the main entity and now you break it down and you have another main entity. But this is how the data comes to us. This is not our fault because it's exactly what it is. Okay? So do
the same previous thing if the key is main entity. So now, if there is a main entity, it's going to be further broken down. So he has to do another for each another key value
if
it has that.
Okay?
Okay? So fine. Again, so see, he has
in
in line 91 key entity, in line 93 he has key value, in line 97 he has key sub value, and then he has a thing called last key, and then he has the standard class and standard subclass. Okay, so it's very confusing, but he couldn't help it
to the
point because the data structure of data is complicated.
All
right? So
if
he finds a finally text, okay,
so
he got the text, okay,
then he strip tags last value
and allowed HTML tags here. Okay, you remember at the beginning he had some tags that he wants to allow. Okay, but strip means remove them. Okay, so I guess he's removing the tags which are allowed. Makes no sense to me. I would remove the ones which are not allowed. But
exactly that.
Yeah. So it's slightly confusing,
but it's fine.
Okay.
This is how it works. Okay.
And then he translates this part. Okay. Fine. Great. And then if there is a headline and if it's not null, he will translate that in line 112 or something like that. And he immediately assigns these values to either this standard class or standard subclass. Okay, so he has these, I wouldn't call them standard subclasses and so on, I would call them a temporary objects that he's creating, so I would call them something more descriptive in this case, okay? Because in line 92 he explains the standard class will create a new object. I know that. But what is that object for? That's what I don't know. I can figure it out by analyzing this code, but it's taking me too long. Okay, so he's temporarily storing these values and we will see what he uses them for if he scrolls down. Okay, so he has to do every text, headline, description. Okay, but I have a question here. Okay. Case description is down. Case caption is down. Okay, and then standard class last key is the last value. So I don't know what this does. If no need to translate, add property and the value. But what is the value? Does anyone remember what the last value is for? Okay, so this is what I'm saying. It's like, I know it's extremely complicated source that we have to translate, okay? I know it is. And the naming that comes from NHS, which is obviously a huge organization, which you would expect to have a good naming and good structure, they don't do that, okay? Fine. All right? But still, it's a little bit confusing. If something goes wrong, it's very hard to figure out what exactly it is, okay? So now he has $137 temporary. So he adds this standard subclass to the temporary array, okay? Don't know why, but we'll see in a moment. Okay, so if you scroll down a little bit later, so he does a standard class main entity is this temporary. So okay, so this line 138, this closed bracket is I guess end of for each loop. Okay,
I don't know it here, but sometimes when I have a long for each loops and so on, or very long divs, I like to put a comment, this I'm closing stuff from the above, okay? So maybe in this line, I would put that, end of for each loop. So he goes through all these sub little parameters, translate all of them, adds everything to this standard class sub, recreates the array, and then this standard class main one gets that temporary inner term of array, how it was before, but it also was JSON encoded, so I guess we'll see JSON encode very soon. Okay, but you remember that the main part of this structure could have another main part inside. So this is why we have this sub. Now he's going back to the main type, and if the main type has description, if the main type has other keys, he has to check that and also translate all of these things. Okay? Okay, can you keep scrolling? So this is now confusing, okay? Because so now he's using another. So see line 148. If the main one has path, it can have again key value, so he has to repeat the whole process again. Okay, so he has to create another. Okay, and go on and on. All right, so scroll down. And then he adds it to array in line 189, and then adds it to that, and the case headline, case default, blah, and then the main result is this standard class. Okay, fine. And then he has the array, so he's rebuilding it. Okay, so he had at the top JSON, which he decoded to array. He iterated through array, and then he iterated through everything within that array. He translated, added it to the new array in the form of objects exactly how they were. So those were those standard subclasses. And now array, he is going to JSON encode in line 208. And that is our Arabic article main entity of the page. Fine. And then he saves it to the database. And now 210 says article, but oh my god, I'm tired. Which article is this? I don't remember. This is an English article, but if it has EN, it's easier for me to understand. So it says like English article is translated. Okay, and he saves that there in a database. So next time when we run this, we are not going to get the same article. Okay? If he has any exceptions, remember the try catch on the block. So he is saving that in a log, which is great. And then he is saving the Arabic article. Okay, that's a weird one. And then he has this number 2 that he mentioned somewhere. So is translated as 2. Okay, so now finally I figured out what the hell that 2 is, because if there is a problem, then he puts the status 2, so I guess you can check later on why these problems have happened, because he has it in his log. Okay, so that's clear, but he could have told us that in the comments. All right? Why the hell is he saving Arabic article? Because I got the exception, it's not translated.
Hmm.
He doesn't know himself.
No, I know, but you don't let me to speak. So.
I'm so letting you speak now because I'm curious.
We want to keep the Arabic articles and the English articles with the same IDs in order to keep the parents also with the same IDs and don't mess the parent column. So even if there is a problem, we need to save the Arabic articles and we can check if there is any problem with is translated equal to 2. So that's why.
Okay. So
we
we
understand
that
that he wants to
save
save it just to keep a placeholder. All right.
However,
However, if you save in the database a record, which let's say you don't have a value, and you didn't allow in the database null values, the database will complain and break, and that will throw another exception. So potentially that doesn't work.
All right?
All right?
Is nullable in the database. So.
Yeah, but as I say,
you know,
there is
a reason why it's a good practice
not to put
elements
nullable
nullable in the database. Because then the database complains about it, then you have to enter the values or have to deal with them in order to get stuff properly done. Okay?
And
the problem that he explained, like I want IDs to match, we can do that in many, much more intelligent ways. Okay? So
I
I
understand
understand
the
the
code.
code.
It's a very decent code for
for very complex problem. Okay?
I just
had minor improvements as a feedback. However, Ahmed has a problem. So Ahmed, what's your problem?
Okay, so as you know, the cron job working this way, so I need to uncomment time we have the result equal to 1, that's why we are returning 1 if everything is okay, and 2 if not. So every time it's our result equal to 1, it's called the cron job again. So this function would be called again. So this should work like in the right way, but if I go to my database, so this is one of the copies. This is the English ID, and if you can see in here, for example, there is duplicates. So this article is translated 2 times. The function was executed for the same ID 2 times, which should not happen because we are changing is translated to 1 each time we finish the translation. And this happened only after 7 articles. That's mean around 1 minute. And when I investigated about this, I found that this is called every minute, and this is keep calling itself like again and again. That's mean at some point or at some stage, this will be called with this at the same time. That's why it can get the same article twice, which caused this problem. This is what I'm understanding. Maybe it's right, maybe it's wrong. I really don't know. But I'm quite sure at some point, maybe after 2 or 3 minutes, I'm 100% sure that will be 3 duplicates, not only 2.
Okay.
And I think that I saw this before. Yeah.
Okay, so that's one problem is duplicates.
Okay, so that's quite clear. What's the other problem, if there is any other problems?
When this happened, I want to stop my cron job locally or in the live server, but I can't. So what I'm doing is like some stupid thing, but I don't know. So I'm commenting this thing, and I'm changing this what's called this log, but even though it's still executing. So if you can see here, it's like logged 2 times. This one, even I changed the log, but this I don't know from where it's coming. So.
Okay.
That's it. So this is the 2 points I need to fix or to know.
Well, where's
the call from? You can
search for the
words new job fired in your code and see where you are logging that info.
This is the only new job fire.
Yeah, but can you search a whole AI for new job fired?
This is the only one. All of the others are logs.
So we
So we
have
have a mysterious
appearance
Yes,
of-
exactly.
of.
Something related to cache, or I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
okay, we have to
understand how the cron jobs work.
Okay.
Okay.
And this
This is the key thing. All right. We have to understand how the cron jobs work.
So
How do they work?
And
And I will show that after the break as well, a little bit more details about deployment when I start talking about that. Is that there is a application on Linux, but there's also one on Mac or Windows, which in Linux is called cron,
and it's
and it's
constantly running.
It's a service.
Okay,
And you program that service
to
to
say
say
fine,
fine,
call,
call
and
and execute this piece of software
at
at certain
times.
times.
Okay.
Okay.
How
How we set it up in AppSource is we say execute my admin every minute.
Okay.
Okay.
And my
And my
admin,
admin,
the
the
AppSource
AppSource
main
main
application checks all the other applications, including
AISICA,
and
and it executes,
calls them
every minute.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, there are two
things
that
that
you have to
keep in mind.
When you say dispatch in line 37,
for example, which is not
commented
out.
Okay,
Okay, that's not going to execute anything.
It's
It's going to create a job.
Okay,
Okay,
it's going
to create a job. It's going to make it something that will be executed in the future.
Okay,
Okay, that's what this is. Okay, so it's going to execute it in the future at some point.
Now,
Okay.
if you go,
Ahmed, please,
when
when you say schedule, okay, so hold on, just hold your horses, okay? So you are right now in translation job, okay? So when the translation job in the future gets executed, this function handle is called automatically, okay? So what he's doing when it gets executed is creating a new job to be performed in the future, okay? How does the first job happen? Okay, so this is why we go to kernel file. Okay, can you switch to kernel, please? Okay, so here he has a dispatch, a new job every minute. Okay, so there are multiple places where I can say create a new job. Okay, so it is perfectly possible that either this thing here will create a new job in the future, but also previous job can create the same job in the future. And do you see where the duplicate can happen? Because if these two are fired at the same time, they might create a new job. But the thing is, in line 31, we say run all the jobs every minute. Okay? So just because we schedule the job, it doesn't mean it will get executed. We have to tell the computer to execute the jobs which are scheduled. Now the computer does this in its own time. It has intelligent algorithm which is not going to do all the jobs that you have scheduled at the same minute. So let's say I want to send 3,000 emails. It's not going to try to send them all at the same time because that will block the whole computer. So it does it one by one, and it makes sure that the front end still works fine, that there is no big load on a computer. So we don't know exactly how long it will take for this job to be executed and when it's going to finish. It's queued. We don't know even when it's going to start. But if we have 3-4 jobs scheduled, the fourth job is going to probably wait 3-4 minutes before it happens, or 2 or 5. I don't know.
So
Ahmed has 3,000 jobs. Okay. So obviously it's going to take much longer than 15-20 minutes because they are not executed one after another. There is a pause, and we want to make sure that the server is not overloaded with runs out of memory or handles and stuff like that. So there are two solutions to this problem. Either we first of all don't allow the translation job to create a new translation job, because that is the first solution. Okay? In that case, every minute we will create one new translation job. But that will remove most of the duplicates. However, if translation takes long time, for some reason longer than a minute, and this creates a new translation job, and this one hasn't finished translating, it will actually create exactly the same one. Because if you remember, it says find me the first one which hasn't been translated. And if it hasn't finished translating number 7, it will try to translate it again, while there is a job translating it in the process. If I disable this thing in translation job to call itself, to create another job as soon as it's finished, okay, then this will take much longer. So 3,000 articles, 3,000 minutes divided by 60, that's 500 watt hours. Okay, so it's much longer. All right. So I do need to create a new translation job as soon as the previous one is finished, and I need to do quite a few of them, so to have that relatively quickly. Okay. So the solution for this is actually, as soon as I pick an English article, as soon as I pick it, I need to put a flag that this one is being translated. So the next one that I get is not being translated. Okay. So if you go back to your translation job, so what would I do here in new translate? So see here, the problem is in line 46, because when you create this job, it calls line 46 first thing and gets the first article, which thing is not translated, which can be the same one multiple times. So here I say, okay, find me the first article that's not translated, and then immediately save in the database, I'm translating this article flag. It's being translated. And this line 46 needs to be modified, so this says, okay, is translated to 0, so I need to translate it, but also it's not being translated. So I have two checks here instead of one. Does it make sense? Ahmed, we can't hear you because you
are... Yeah, I'm thinking. No, I'm not talking.
Okay.
You know how I did this? So I pushed this to isaha.com, fired one job using kernel, then I commented this and removed the cron job from IISah application, and the cron job was fired from this line. And this way I did it like quickly and correct, but I was in need to remove this line and change the parameter of the application itself.
Yep.
Yep.
So
So basically,
that
that
also
also
works.
works.
Okay,
Because
what you want is just to create the first cron job and then first task or first scheduled task, and then that one will create a new one, and then that one will create a new one. So basically, what you want to do is in this kernel just execute this process once. And for that, you can actually have a button on your front end in admin portal, start translating, okay? And then creates the first one, which will create the second one, which will create the third one, and so on.
Right.
Okay? So we can sort it out like that as well. So there's multiple solutions to this problem. Okay, but this is a beautiful thing. When you have a bug like this and you don't understand what is going on, I would suggest that, just like Ahmed and me, are throwing ideas and see which one will work the best, okay, for us. Okay, so then we can say, okay, do we really want the button? Where will we put the button? Is the button good solution? Yes, it is. So because next time when you want to run these, you can run them. If you have additional articles, it's convenient to have a button. Do I need to run every minute new translation job if I'm finished? Of course not. So everything has pros and cons. Okay. Great. Now, Ahmed, what I will do now is get a 5-minute break, and I'll get you off the Skype. So thank you very much. I will in 5 minutes go to the deployment site. So I will. Again, sorry for the echo. It comes from Skype, and I haven't figured out how to kill it yet. I will do. Eventually. So in the next part, we will talk about deployment, how I do this on the server. So Ahmed, thank you very much. You were great. Thanks for sharing this with us. And guys, talk to you in 5 minutes. All right?
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys, let's move on. I think this was interesting to see in great details a specific problem. How does it work, these cron jobs? And one thing that I want to maybe have another session on, let me know if you want it, is this code that Ahmed created for this particular job is too long. It's too complex, too long. And I think I can reduce it to 1/3 of the code, which would make much more sense. So this is optimization of the code and rewriting this with variables. So maybe if you are interested, we can have a little session just on how to optimize this code to make it much more sense and much more flexible, okay? This is quite often done because you quite often have an array which is full of arrays, which is full of arrays, and you don't know how many those sub things you have. So it would be very good to write some universal code which doesn't matter how many sub-levels it has, it can go in and in and in and do exactly what Ahmed was doing. So maybe there is a good session on optimization of this example. If you want it, I can do it, okay? So now I haven't got a clue what I'm going to talk about next because this is Alibaba and it is running, not Alibaba, sorry, AI Hub. Just like Alibaba, it's running an app source thing, and I will log in, all right? Now, as you can see, as soon as I logged into this platform, I am inside AI Siha application, and I can see the articles, I can click on them, and then I can see English version of the article, Arabic version of the article, then I can highlight the word, and I can write what my suggestion is. I can choose the rule, okay, if the translation is wrong, I can choose a different, say, okay, this word is wrong because it's plural, but it should be singular version of it, and I can add comments, and I can submit here my proposal. Okay, once I submit the proposal, it will ask me additional questions if there aren't, and so on. Okay, so it's already deployed on the server. Okay, now, let's say I made a change in my code on my local machine, and I want to deploy it on a server again. How do I do that? Well, there are a couple of ways. Okay, so the hard way is this. My admin has a thing called console, okay? And this is a web console. So it's just like your terminal that you have on your Linux or Windows machine, okay? So you can type the same commands, all right? So I can type command ls, and I can see what files I have on my server. So I have here, I can see AI Siha. So I can see the AI Siha, and then ls there and see what's going on. Okay, so this is my source code right now. So if I type git status, then I can see right now that the code on the server is updated with the code on the repository. Great. If it wasn't updated, it will tell me here it's 1 push behind, 2 pushes, 3 pushes behind, and I can do git pull. Okay, now it tells me it's already up to date. Okay, so it's relatively simple to update the code on the server. If I make a mistake, if I need to go back to the specific versions and so on, I can do that. There are multiple git commands that I can execute here to revert back to the previous version and so on. All right? So this works. Now, if I say, let's say this file, let's see this PHP unit XML, okay? If I say nano PHP unit.xml, so So XML obviously is some sort of file that I assume is text file, so I can just edit it with nano, okay? And I press enter, tells me no. All right? Now, this web terminal that we have here does not support stuff like editors, stuff like applications which show you the editor, okay? So I can only execute the commands which don't show me the editor, which just show me the result. So ls works, nano doesn't work, okay? Free-m, I think there is a command like that which will tell me what's my free memory, okay? Which is very useful. So, but because this one has a direct output and finishes, it works. If, like nano has a user interface, it's not going to work. Now, the second thing which doesn't work is sudo, okay? So I can make this to work as sudo, as a root, all right? But it's not secure. So if somebody hacks this, or even if I have a user which doesn't know what to do, he can execute sudo commands like delete half of the stuff and so on. I don't want to allow that to happen. So why this terminal here is limited to the user www data. So I'm logged in as www data, and I can't be main user, sudo user, root user. I can't do that. It's not allowed. So I can't exit this var www.html where I am at the moment, okay? I can't do that, it's not allowed. So what happens if I want to do that? Okay, well, what happens is like any Linux server, I can use console that I have on my computer, console, and not console, what the hell am I doing? Terminal. And then I can type SSH, and I can connect to aichiha.com. So right now, this terminal is on my machine. So if I type ls and so on, it will show me what is on my Mac. Okay, but if I SSH, I am making a tunnel from my terminal to the terminal on the server, and then the commands that I will type will actually be executed on this terminal. Now, SSH, of course, says fine, but this is some fingerprint and so on. Are you sure you want to connect? Yes. Okay? And now it's asking me for the aef@aichiha.com password. Weird. I am logged in as Andrei Fabris AF at my MacBook. So my user is AF. So when I SSH to the remote server, it uses my user, so my user should exist on that server already, AF. Well, of course it doesn't. Why would AF user exist on some random server? Okay, so I really wanted to SSH as a root user, but then I need to know the root password. Okay, so any password that I type here, it's going to try and say, no, I can't do it, try again, and I can keep trying, but there's no user, there's no password, I will never connect, all right? Now, even if I can connect as a root and I know what the password for the root for this computer is, this server, that's not very secure, because if somebody knows that password, they can use that password to log in, okay? So, and the passwords can be cracked. So if I'm to hack this server, I'm going to write a script which will try SSH, user root, and password, and then password 123, and then password admin, and then most likely I will guess correctly after 5 hours or something like that, and I will hack the password. Okay, so that's not what we do. All right. So what I do is actually create something much more complex. I create some sort of SSH key which I have to install on my machine, and then I will use the specific key to log in remotely from my computer using this terminal. Okay, so that key will be generated for that specific one. I'm not going to show you that key right now, but I'm going to go to digitalocean.com and I'm going to log in there, and I'm going to say fine, not that, and then log in. And then it's going to ask me for 16-digit password. That's why I got my phone here. So blah, 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 that is 220318, enter. I have to be very fast because it just resets every 3 seconds. So there you go, I'm here. Okay, so AI Siha, here it is. Okay, and then I have access, and then I can go to this recovery console, so I can see this console from here. Okay, which will give me root access if I know the root password. But before I go that, I'll just show you that most cloud providers have the keys that I can generate at some point. I can't remember where it is, I haven't used them. Droplets, this is list of droplets, apps, blah, blah, blah. Functions, it's not that. Settings, can't remember right now where it is. If I am to create a new droplet, maybe create droplet. Maybe I will have it here. Yeah, okay. So see, when I create a unique SSH key, which are these ones here. Then I can create a new one. Okay, and then I can create something very secure, follow these instructions, give it a name, install that on my computer, Linux, Mac, and Windows. You can use a putty. This is a Windows application which allows you to do what I was just doing in terminal on my Mac, connect to the remote server through SSH, and it manages these keys relatively easily. So I have one place, I just say use that key, boom, connect to the server, done, you know, authorized, don't have to remember the password, and there is no password, okay? So typically for security reasons, I don't create passwords when I create a new droplet. There is no root password, and I don't even create SSH key. I can create SSH key when I need one, okay? So going back to my droplet, I'm not going to create a new one, so going back to aisiha.com, okay, and I go to access, and I say launch recovery console. Okay, so now right now I'm in a console. The thing is, I'm in a console because we created the root password for this one, and we logged in, and this console is logged in. So I just open it, I'm logged in. I didn't type anything. Not very secure. Of course, you can't access this without knowing my password for DigitalOcean, and then I have additional two-step verification. So it's secure-ish, but it could be better, okay? So I don't want to have access to this. But of course here, let's say, not LALS, nano, some file, whatever, okay, webpack, let's do that one. So here in this console that works, and I can execute stuff as a root, okay?
I'm a little bit lost. So why are we here with this ocean thing? What is it? And what is it connected to the server?
Yeah. Okay, so I was asked a question, why are we here and what is this DigitalOcean and so on? So DigitalOcean is one of the good providers of these virtual machines. Okay, so this is a hosting provider. You have Linode, you have Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, and so on. You can host these little servers anywhere you want, okay? These ones, very good. So, I use the very good, again, user interface to manage all the instances of these virtual machines. One of them is AI-SIHA, and there are all the others that I have. If I want to manage the certificates of the server, I manage it here. So to get access to the server, if I ever need a terminal access as a root, typically I would create an SSH key here, download it on my computer, and that is secure because SSH key, I have to type the password, the other stuff, which is my personal password, and then it will log me in securely into the server to do stuff which I can't do in the terminal that we provide, which is very rare, okay? So the only thing what I can't do is, let's say, create a new cron job. Or can I? So if I type cron tab E, this will list all the cron jobs. But this, just like Nano, wants to open a little app where I can see and edit the cron job. So I can't do it in this console. So that's why I have to do it in the other one. So the one that I just showed you is still open, no launch recovery console. Okay. So if I type cron tab E here, it actually works. Okay, so I'm going to use editor number 1, which is Nano, which is easiest. Okay, and this is my configuration for the cron jobs. Okay, so I can't edit this inside the terminal. I have to do it here. But I could have done it as well, because this is saved in one file. And I can edit that file actually using some other more primitive tools. So I can replace the text and add the text to the file. So there is a way, but it's not easy. So here we go, okay? So to run my cron job, as I mentioned before, I have these 5 stars, 5 asterisks, which means every minute, okay? So one of them is like day, week, hour, minute, and so on. So I can put different values here. So if I want to run a cron job every 12 hours, I can set it up. I will probably change this star in the middle with, we don't see the screen. Sorry guys, I'm an idiot today, I'm too tired. Okay, you haven't missed much. Yes, you have, but oof. Okay, so these 5 stars that Neo can see now on the screen is what I can change to run this in a different time intervals. After the 5 pieces of information, which tells, for example, 05 would say 5 a.m. It tells you here, it explains how to replace this. Then I say, what is the command that I want to run? Okay, and the command that I want to run is PHP artisan schedule run. That's the command. That command is a Laravel stuff which will execute that kernel file that Ahmed was showing earlier. Okay, and in that kernel file, it will create new jobs and it will also execute them. And then it will get called again and again and again every minute. Okay, so that's the only one that I need. Of course, this artisan command is inside of this folder, so I change directory to that folder first, and then I can execute this. I could have done it slightly differently. I could say PHP /var/www/html/myadmin/artisan schedule run and so on. I could have done it like putting a full path. Not a big deal. Okay, one way or another, it will work. This bit here, you know, when you run any Linux command, it prints some sort of response. This says like, don't print response, I don't care, because this is a cron job, it's executed in background, so I don't care about response, just give it to device which doesn't exist, so it doesn't throw me any errors. I can also log this to a file, but then that file will become very big after a few months. So that's how I do that. Okay, so this is a cron job. It's one, I set it up, it always runs, easy peasy, okay? And if I want to change it, I need to do this. So I showed you how to pull the code, I showed you how to change this thing, okay? But let's go back here, okay? What if I have a change to the database, okay? Because this gets the code synchronized, but it doesn't change the structure of the database, okay? So what I can do is go to the database, go to AIC whatever my database is, go to the table that I have, and then alter the table and make exactly the same changes that I made on my computer manually. So if I added one column, I can say plus, add that column, name it exactly as it is. If I make a mistake, of course, it's not going to work. And then save, and I updated the table. One way. The other way is, of course, I can use this database application and I can import the table that I want. Again, manually. It's not very good, but it works. Any questions so far? No. So I just showed that if I want to update something on the server which is already set up, it's actually easy. I can do git pull and then updates my code. And if I want to update the database, boom, I can do it manually, add a column, remove the column, do whatever I need to do. But it's not very practical, is it? Okay? So I want to show you something else, okay? So I'm not going to save this, so I'm just going to go back, okay? I'm going to show you apps, okay? So this is AppSource way of doing things, all right? So I have all these apps installed. These are the apps installed on this instance of AppSource, okay? And one of them is my AIC. And see here, we added a little thing called git status. So if I open this, it will tell me if there is something going on with this app, if there needs an update or something like that. At the moment, it either doesn't work or there is nothing to report. Fine. This says up to date, but my survey say, hey, you can update this app, okay? Because here it says on brand master, it says working stay clean. It says a few other things as well. You know, we need to fix this to give better information. But obviously this one I can update, okay? And here, when I click update, it should update this application. But let me show you something. And I need to find this. So this is one that I want to show you. And maybe this is another one. Nope. Don't know which one it is, but anyway, it's very similar to this, okay? So, this is a function that will update the app. Okay? And it's very interesting because to update the app, I need a number of things to do. Okay, so I need to update the GitHub. I need to make a Git pull. Okay, so basically what I'm doing is I'm pulling the files, okay, from the GitHub that we have. All right, so this is the URL. But what I made this function, of course, it has a different application, so it can be Apsus project / AIC hub, Apsus projects at my time, my survey, my whatever it is. So this creates the URL, okay? And then I open the repository. This is an interesting one because I actually opened the repository or .git, that hidden folder, okay? If it's not set up, I put the credentials of the user, okay, and I'm logging this as it happens to the log because this, of course, is done in the background, okay? I'm not going to update the apps in the foreground, all right? So this is another job. Now, this is an interesting one because what I can do here in AIC Hub, I can go to my admin, okay, utilities, files, and go to AIC Hub and find a file, let's say index.php or server PHP, doesn't matter, one of those files. So there's the file, and I can edit it, and I can return, say return true. And I can save this file. So this file will be modified on the server. And you know when you modify a file on your computer, the Git automatically tracks it down and says it has changed. So if somebody changes any file like this manually on the server, first it will create a conflict, but second thing, why the hell are you changing the code that, we don't want you to do that. So basically this line will stash all the changes. So everything that they changed, it will be stashed, except the folders which are added to the git ignore. And the folders that we add to git ignore are public folders. So the public folders where you upload your images, like avatars and stuff like that. That I don't care. That's not going to be deleted here, okay? Because that's on git ignore. All right, so then I pull everything, okay? And then what I can do, but it's commented out right now because it's not a good practice, I can return their changes back. So if there is a reason why people do that, I can actually change this line of code and then it will actually return those changes after I made a pull. So I can keep those changes, but of course I don't want to. So that's the code which updates this thing, okay? But what about the database? Let me see where it is. Creating the database. So I make a git pull, and this is the first time I installed the app. I pulled the thing, and one of them is my SQL file, which I called Apsos database something, okay? So if this Apsos database file exists, if it's now pulled to the server, okay, then I can create a new SQL connection and then execute create a database with the name of my database. Okay, fine. And then what I need to do is grant the privileges so I have access to that database. Okay? And now the database is created. Okay? And I can, of course, import this database here at some point. I can't remember where it is, so I can import the database. Importing this, we alter the database that was read for previous file. Okay, so that's the code which does that. Error, if it causes the error. And this is some other stuff that I will just show you in a second. Because you are thinking, okay, this is called something front APIs. What the hell is this?
Is that the normal database page where we do all our things? Is
Yeah.
that what the code?
This code is importing the SQL file which is bundled with the app. So if my app is Animus, I should have initial database here. Okay? So this is the database that's imported for, in this case, I just show Animus. So it will find this file and import it. So this is the initial database. Okay. So this is where our customers should actually go. And when they log in here, they should have an app source store. Okay. So right now I see different app sources installed. Okay. And each one of these can have multiple applications. Okay. So if I want to install an application on the server, such as my email or my CRM, I click install. And it asks me, hey, which app source you want to have it on? And let's say I say Alibaba or AIC or whatever is available to me as a user, because I can't install applications to your app sources. Okay, I can only install them to mine. So where I say AIC here, and I click install, what this does is call this front APIs. Okay, so I have very good security how this authorizes itself in order to install this. Okay, so it doesn't matter, you know, note that I'm on appssource.org and I can install remotely an application on alihaba.nl with one click. So I click install. It basically calls this code, not update, install, creates all the folders and files that it needs to create. So in my maker directory, just like you as developers were doing this, a make directory called, in this case, it will be called whichever application I'm installing. I'm installing email, I think so. It will create a directory, my mail. It will create a Git repository. It will clone the code. Once it's done with that, it will find the PHP file. Sorry, it will find, it will also register the app. So it will read this app source install, and this is the information about this app which I need to register. So it is actually registered with that local version of app source. Okay, so it knows the name of the app, it knows the front end, it knows what roles of that app exist and so on. So that's the next thing that it reads, and then of course creates the database for that and imports the database in. And then returns response. So it tells this guy, when I click install, this should be a background job on this server because it takes too long. Or it should have a little spinner, so there's a graphics update. But see, after 10 seconds, app installed successfully. So what I can do now, which one did I say? Alihaba. So I can go to that. Need my glasses, I can't see anything anymore. Oh bloody hell. Okay, so I'm a completely new app source. And if I go to my admin utilities database, which one did I installed my CRM, that's the one that I installed, okay? So I have the database, my CRM, which has all these things, okay? And if I go to files, for example, I have my CRM folder created on 21st of 7th, 1543, that's correct time, it's non-GMT, so it's server time, 2 hours before us. All correct, so it was just created, okay? And in the list of apps, it's registered my CRM straight away. So our users, if they want to add a new app to their server, they don't need to do anything. They don't need to think about bloody things, okay? They just go, they find the app they want, they click install, and boom, it's installed in literally 10 seconds, and it's ready to be used. So this is how deployment works. Nobody in the world has this capability of deploying the whole cloud-based applications on any server in the world with one click. It's more simple than installing the apps on your phone, okay? So this is how we should really install all the apps on any server that we are deploying, because we made it so simple for our users. Of course, AIC Hub that we are building is special because we don't want our users, every single user, that there's no need for Alihaba to have this app here. So we are not going to make this app public, it's going to be one of the private apps, okay? Because private apps are treated differently, okay? They are not registered here on my org. They are not listed here for every user to see which apps those are, okay? So, now that I installed the app, I want to add it to the users, okay? So I say, fine, manage users, okay? So these are my users of Alihaba, brilliant, and I can tell which one of these users will have access to my CRM on this server. So I'm managing users and I'm managing the apps. So I say, Jerome, brilliant, here you go, you have the right to use CRM. And you say access granted in the top right corner, which is brilliant. If I try to do this to Slaven, boom, it works. Lana, boom, works. Another one works. Another one works. Another one. Okay? Now, my CRM, because I got this app for free, has a limitation on number of users that I can add. So eventually what's going to happen is that it will tell me here, you can't add any more apps. I will not grant any more permissions to any more users. Okay? Now, of course, I'm logged in as AppSource administrator, so I have super rights and it gives me unlimited powers. But if you are a normal user, after 2, you would probably run out of users that you can allow to use this app simultaneously. What you can do, of course, here is add to cart and then choose your subscription. So I want to have 5 users, well, pay us £10 or whatever your currency is. Or you get a limited version with as many users as you want. So there is a check that this system does every time when you grant, how many users do you actually have and can use, okay? Of course, we can break that very easily, and that's not a problem, we can hack that and add users manually. Any questions so far? Okay. Now I have 10 more minutes and I'm going to show you one thing, okay, that is very important. Okay, so update. Where is the update? I can't see it here, but I will find it in the jobs, okay? Because this is what we are talking about. Now, if I have a database update, so let's say I have my app version 1, user installed it. Okay, they click that update button, it will execute a code which will update the files, but it also needs to update the database in the same way. So I don't want to manually update the bloody database. Our users and users will never do that. Okay, so what I'm doing here is creating a job. Okay, and that job, if I have an update of the database, I need to run migrations. And with Jesus, I will cover this database and migrations and stuff like that in much more details because we didn't pay any attention to that right now. But migrations allow me to easily add and modify columns and track the update. So let's say Sam has version 3 of the app, she ran 3 migrations. Okay, but Julia has version 5 and she ran 5 migrations. Okay, so if I have an update number 6, Sam needs to run 3 migrations in order to jump from her version 3 to version 6, but Julia only needs to run 1. Okay, so as you can see, when I have many app sources, many instances, and many different applications, and somebody updates it, somebody didn't update, I don't know where you are, and I need to update the databases if there are any new columns added and so on. So this is what I do with migrations, and I will explain that in more details next time. But what you need to know that I create a cron job. Okay, and this cron job I want to execute only once. Okay, and that cron job will execute command which will do the migrations. Okay, so the value here will be do the migrations. Okay, once it does that, basically I say settings is nothing, and then app save. Now this, again, bad coding or bad coding practices, Ahmed would say, because I didn't explain in the code what this does. Okay, because this cancels that once job. So I made a cron job which only executes once. Once it's done, I delete it. But I didn't explain this well, because every job that you create, once it's executed, is deleted. Okay? However, you installed the app from here, all right? And you installed AI Siha, okay, which is this one here. And if I go to apps and go to AI Siha and edit this, see, AI Siha, it has a cron job field, okay? So when I make a git pull, okay, I can check this file, has it changed? And if it has changed, I will update this application settings. So I might not have a cron job here, but the next time I will have a cron job. And this cron job, as you can see, has a key called cron, which means this is a cron job. I want you to execute this every single minute, or every single day, or every whatever. Okay, just like what we explained. But if I put here once instead of cron, this will be executed once, and then it will be deleted from here, so it doesn't execute repeatedly. Okay, so stuff like migrations, I only need to do once. Okay, and I can control that easily by just changing these settings, push the code. Once I push the code, I check this. If it says once, brilliant, I can execute migrations. Your tables are updated, everything is up and running, carry on as usual. So that's the thing with once. Okay? And of course, everything that I run as a cron jobs is ridiculously hard to debug because I don't see anything. I don't know when they are happening. I don't know, are they working fine? I don't know on which computers they are running because I just showed you 4 or 5 different computers. So was it executed at appsource.org? Was it executed at AI-Sicha? Was it executed at this one, my computer? I don't know. And then a customer is calling me, shit doesn't work. This is why the logging is extremely important. Okay? So I can see in the log when these things were called and when they were not called, and analyze the logs to figure out what went wrong. That's the only way. Now, the smart way is also to do one more thing. So, see here, in this end file, I can say app debug is true or false, and the environment is development on this. So based on this settings here, okay, on my local machine, this end file will say development and log everything. On production machine, it will say production and debug is false. So I don't get error messages for users that you are getting on your local machines. I don't get that crap. And then I don't fill up logs with all crap information. Sometimes you log usernames and passwords and stuff like that, which is sensible, so you don't want that. Okay? But if I want temporarily to test something, I would say app debug is true, and then logs would be enabled, boom, 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 boom. I see what happens, and then I can disable them again and delete the logs after I finish my analysis. So I can control that through this env file. So if I want to deploy something on the server, okay, when we are building and testing stuff, it's okay to do the approach number 1. So you can go to the console and pull and do all those changes, and you can manually update the database. But once we are really ready for production, we actually have to do a different approach because we want to make it easy for the user to do the updates, to do the installation, and I just showed you that and explained you that in more details. And again, for that, I quite often run various cron jobs here and so on. Who the hell put this here? So Ahmed wants to disable cron jobs, I would suspect, so he removed them from here, and then he wants also to save this so he can enable them, so he put it in a database name. Now, of course, when I run the update of this AI-Sicha app, I check what's the database name so I can install it and update it, so he's going to break it because he has wrong data in it. So, all right. Guys on the chat, any questions? Is everything clear? Guys here, any questions? No? So to recap, cron jobs or background tasks are extremely useful, really good, and we can make user experience absolutely amazing. So I just showed you a very complex cron job, which is executed from one server to any other server, okay? Where I can actually install the whole bloody application, update the database, register it with everything what needs to be registered. And that takes only, as you saw when I click install, maybe it took 10 seconds or something like that to happen. But that is even too longer. That needs to go in the background. So I hope that was useful. If you guys want me to organize a session about optimizing Ahmed's code, I can do that next time or in the next few weeks. But I think next session is about APIs and push notifications, next Thursday probably. And then after that, I'll do the database one. But anyway, thanks everyone for watching and have a lovely evening. Bye-bye.